Welcome to Aiken This Week. I'm Emery Langston. We're here at North Aiken Elementary today to talk about a joint venture between the Aiken Department of Public Safety and North Aiken Elementary, the Bikes and Books program. And today I'm being joined by Lieutenant Karl Odenthal with Aiken Department of Public Safety and Kat Hamilton, who is the literacy coach here at North Aiken Elementary. And Kat, thank you so much for hosting us today.
Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
This is a very innovative program that has been developed, and so we're excited to talk about it a little bit today. So, Karl, why don't you just kind of tell us about how this program came to be, and we'll just jump in.
Sure. I was riding, one of the feeder areas for North Aiken Elementary is Crosland Park. And I was riding my bicycle through Crosland Park, and I came across a couple kids outside, and I went ahead and stopped and started talking to them. And they were like, "Oh, that's a really cool bike you have there." And so we started talking about bicycle things. And I asked them if they had a bike. They said, "Oh, we do, but it's got 2 flat tires." And there was no one in their household that knew how to fix a flat tire, or had the equipment required to fix it. So that kind of sat, being a cyclist myself, that kind of, wow, what a waste. They have a bike and they can't even ride it because they don't know how to fix it. And then I came across another study that showed where students that struggle with reading are, have a tougher time in life in terms of, moving on and advancing in school. So we thought it would be a good idea to reach out to North Aiken Elementary, who these kids feed into this school, to partner with them and try to work with reading literacy, as well as using bikes as an opportunity to give them an incentive to read, especially those that may be struggling a little bit. So that's really where the concept came from. So we went into a format, got with Kat here, and she's the brilliant mind behind the actual reading section of it. And we came up with a format where we'll have the students read to us. And well, we use a couple different techniques, but the primary one is they read to us. And then, we help them with any reading they have, but that gives them practice reading out loud and learning their sentences. And then the last 10 minutes of that class period, we'll go ahead and I'll do a demonstration on some simple bike mechanics, bike repair, something as simple as fixing a flat tire. And we'll demonstrate that. So we'll do that format for 2 days. For 2 times we come once a week for an hour. And then the 3rd week that we come, the kids have an entire hands-on day where they can actually, a lot of them are tactile learners, and so it's really a good incentive. Hey, I'll get to work on, if I read, I'll get to work on this bike and learn how to fix my own bike. So it really ended up being a good pairing.
It does motivate them a little bit. We appreciate that.
Well, to have those skills, because reading is fundamental. That is the basis for everything.
It is.
So Kat is looking at that literacy component. What does this mean for the students who participate in this program?
Well, it's a win-win situation for them. Literacy-wise, I know the way that you get better at reading is by reading, so this gives them an opportunity to practice their reading skills. When the teachers instruct in the classroom, they have an amount of time to practice, and so then when these volunteers or mentors, reading mentors as we'll call them, when they come in, that's an extra amount of time. So within that length of time, it's possible to have some catch-up growth. So we're very grateful. Thank you for thinking of us at North Aiken.
How are the children chosen?
Well, we wanted to start very small. I mean, we could have chosen anybody, but we thought about the 4th grade students because they've had a year, really reading in 3rd grade, and us looking at the data sets in terms of reading inventory, which is an assessment instrument that our district uses, as well as Fountains and Pinnell reading instruments as well. And so we looked at them because they've had some time for us to gather, lots of great data sets, teacher types of data sets, as well as those from the reading inventory, from the Fountains and Pinnell assessment system. And then once we looked at that, then there's 5th grade. 4th grade was a nice balance in the middle because they can really talk about it and talk it up to their younger peers who will come along after them in third grade and in the grade levels below, as well as have something, you know, that they can share that they have done, and it'll give them an extra boost for fifth grade.
Sure, sure.
So start small, try to do it well,
Yes.
and see what happens as a result.
So when the program gets started, Karl, well, and Kat both, can y'all walk us through what that time looks like? What is the format when you walk in? What can somebody expect?
You want to start?
I will. Well, when our reading mentors come in, the students already have books in their bags or books in their crates that, you know that they are able to read or that they are interested in reading, because the interest is a big thing. Mm-hmm. That's a motivator in and of itself. So once they already have their books ready, we've prepped them and they're excited to beat the band, because they ask, Miss Cat, when are they coming? When are they coming? So they're fully ready when the volunteers come in and they get with their student. They just kind of gravitate toward each other. We do a little pairing if we need to, the volunteer with particular students, if there seems to be a little lag. And once they sit together, it's just that simple. They just start to read. They have a conversation, which is also good, you know, so that kind of breaks the ice, and they're building rapport with each other. So once they read and converse with each other, then they get ready to hear the demonstration and see the demonstration for the bikes, and they're even more excited and can't wait until they come back again.
Yes, yes. Karl, I know that a lot of the officers are part of the program, but you don't necessarily have to be a police officer to a public safety officer to participate. I know that you have lots of folks in the community who come together to be a part of this. Tell us about who some of your partners are.
Well, obviously the school district is our first partner, but we've also partnered with Safe Kids of Aiken County, because one of the things we also do is we talk a little bit about, you know, bicycle awareness and bicycle education in terms of riding safely. We know that many kids that get hurt throughout the year are usually out on bike or something like that and just not following the rules of the road. They may not know what's the safest way to ride. A lot of the children's injuries at the hospital are a lot of times they've fallen off a bike and not wearing a helmet. So we partner with Safe Kids from Aiken County, and they provide some help. In the past they've provided helmets for us. We make sure they're fitted properly to the individual student, and then we actually, the last time we come, we actually do a little bike rodeo in the bus parking lots, which they seem to really enjoy. Yeah. It's a lot of fun for us, as well as watching the kids ride around. We've partnered with the Aiken Bike Club. You know, they've helped us as both reading mentors and also in terms of some of the bike mechanics section where we teach them how to fix flat tires. This year we're partnering with some local churches to get some additional volunteers from there, and, you know, like I said, the school district.
Mm-hmm. How many weeks does the program run? Well,
we gear it up towards 9, but if we run, this is a larger class that we're doing this year, so I think we'll probably just keep going a little bit longer this year. But it's gonna, you know, our target date is 9 weeks, because that's, you know, the quarter. But if it runs a little bit longer, that's okay.
That's good.
That's wonderful. Listen, we will receive you when you come. Absolutely.
Well, this program was born out of public safety. Really is another proactive approach to positively, you know, to engage with the community in a positive experience and give our kids an opportunity to have a rapport, get to know an officer possibly, or just an adult person, and then we have the reading component in it, and the life skills, and the bicycle. Can both of you talk about the impact you think that this has had and the strengths of the program?
Well, I think it has, and there's twofold to it. I think the first thing is, you know, just by letting these kids know that, hey, you've got a community out here outside your family that loves you and wants to see you be safe and succeed. And the second thing, as far as I know, the mentors that I've worked with, we talk and we reassess our performance afterwards and talk about things after the kids have gone back to class. And all the volunteers have gotten so much from the kids. Just it is they. You know, we do it for the children, but I think some of the volunteers we've had have gotten twice as much joy and satisfaction from helping the kids and seeing the joy on the children's face when they're being successful at you know, advancing in their reading. It's just it's a great pairing. You know, the other thing is, you know, the Chief Branco always makes some appearances as well. So
does.
be able to read with the Chief of Police and be able to read a story to the Chief of Police, and he loves taking part in that and encourages community engagement by all our officers. So it's neat for the kids too. Oh, you're the Chief of Police. I got to read with him, you know. So it's fun. It's fun.
That is true. I love that. It's a great positive impact on the students because they do get to practice their reading skills. They do get to strengthen the reading component, and reading strengthens the writing. So I love all of that that's going on. I love that they get to build positive relationships with the police officers so that they don't have to fear them. They see them as real people, they're friends, and they can wave to them when they see them out and about. And they can carry this mentality, this mindset back home and into the community at large. I absolutely love that the students have an opportunity to share this experience with their teacher, and it helps the teacher because the teacher that is involved, for example, the teacher's class that we're serving or working with, that teacher can have this chance to assess kids. She may walk around with her clipboard as the students are reading to, with, or having their reading together. The reading mentors, that teacher can have an assessment opportunity. She may have her checklist, and if she is wondering whether or not Sally is noticing punctuation marks, if she's comprehending what he or she is reading, she has this opportunity to engage in taking some anecdotal notes and checking off the student's progress. So it helps everybody. Of course, I am a glow, of course, as well as the administrators in the building. So on behalf of Ms. P. and Mr. Jobs, we are very grateful that we were chosen at North Aiken. So.
It's a very holistic approach. I mean, Kat, from what you were saying, you know, to build the relationship with the officer, to take it back home. I know that Karl, y'all have had opportunities and situations where it's even connected further into the families. And, you know, what a special program. What a very innovative program that you have that's really, really wonderful.
Yeah, who else can read books and get to learn about bikes? And then when it's all said and done, Officer Odenthal and his team, as I'll call them, they bring literature, magazines, and things that the students can read, and they have the bicycle mechanics manual, if you will. So then that is another opportunity for the students to read. And now I'm interested in why I am reading this. And because I've sat with them and I've engaged with them hands-on, I understand what I'm reading.
Exactly. So. I mean, boy, it just goes on and on.
It does.
Well, Karl, you talked about some of the resources. Can you go into a little bit more detail with that? What types of resources do you need for this program?
We're always in searching for volunteers that are willing to work with kids. And one of the things that we're fortunate enough is Kat has gone ahead and drawn up a little worksheet for us to help us do assist the teacher in terms of assessment. For example, if I see something that might help the teacher help this student, I could go ahead and make notes of that so that I can pass that on to the teacher. So if you're looking at it, you have a one-on-one assessment of every student in that class for that teacher on a weekly basis. I mean, that is, to me, a good advantage to have. But we're looking for volunteers who are willing to spend the time to just get to know a kid and have them read to us. And it's one of the unique things about this curriculum is we have the students read to us. And then that helps us, gives them confidence in reading out loud and finding that smoothness in their reading. But also it helps us identify something that they may need some help on. So that's definitely a bonus on that.
It is.
We're also looking for volunteers who have some knowledge of bike mechanics. You don't have to be a world-class wrench turner. I mean, if you just can do some simple things with some tools, you know, we try to break them down into groups of four students per one officer or one adult. And then, you know, we'll cover all the things you need to know about it. We just need to make sure that we have an adult there trying to help them get that task done. So volunteers as far as that. Also, if you have, I think I hadn't talked to Kat about this, but I don't know if they accept books in or not. You know, if you have some,
Oh, yes.
some children's books, or you want to buy a book and donate it. A lot of these kids don't have any books at the house, so it's good for that as well. Like I know one of the children that I worked with in the past said, you know, do you have any brothers and sisters? I do. You know, this particular child lived with his grandmother, and we said, you know, hey, do you want to? My grandmother doesn't care if I read to her or not. I said, well, I tell you what, how about you read to your little brother then? Because you could practice your reading at home. You could take this book home. You could read it. You could have this book, and you could then read to your little brother or sister. And to my knowledge, that's what ended up happening. I mean, I can't say he went home and read, but he said he did. So I take him at his word.
The book was provided, right?
Yes. So there's a lot of good things, and also if you have an old bike that you're not using, and it's in decent shape, I don't want to have to rehab a whole bike that's totally trashed out. But if it's usable and maybe your kids have outgrown it, we could go ahead and look at that bike, and we could do some basic mechanics on it. And you know, if a child doesn't have a bike, we might be able to provide them with it. One of the things we do, as well as I mentioned, we do that bike rodeo at the end where we teach them some riding skills. We'll bring bikes to that particular event so that the kids will have something to ride. We don't have to try to get all these bikes from home for that class period. So we're always in search of bikes. We get some from the property room, but sometimes those are in pretty bad shape. So if you have a bike that's in decent shape, we could definitely use it if you're just trying to get rid of it.
Very good. Very good. So the program will kick off on January the 20th.
Yes.
And that is, you'll accept volunteers throughout the program. Anybody who would want to participate, just let Lieutenant Karl Odenthal know. And we can put Karl's email address up on the screen for you, what will be the easiest way to get in touch with you. So as we're wrapping up today, is there anything that we haven't touched on that, that either of you would like to leave us with?
Well, I think we've about covered everything. We are so thankful for the opportunity to participate in Bikes and Books. We are grateful that the kids have a chance to read and practice reading and learn about bike safety.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we thank Karl. Did you have anything?
Just one thing that the kids we've worked with in the past, and I've met this class that we're going to be working with on the 20th, just have been just a great group of kids. I mean, these are really good kids that just want to learn. I mean, they're eager to dive into the books, and it's great that we can provide that kind of energy to help them get there.
So, well, we'll look forward to January the 20th, and we thank you all for being with us today for Aiken This Week, and we'll see you next time.